in Charleston, South Carolina, where vibrant markets hummed with life and neighbors shared smiles across porch railings, a storm brewed silently, poised to unravel lives and ignite a revolution. The story began with Naomi Turner, a quiet yet strong-willed woman nearing the end of her pregnancy, and her husband, Gabriel, a man whose serene demeanor masked a tumultuous past. The Turners were a picture of resilience, but neither could foresee how a single act of violence would shatter their world. Naomi had spent the morning strolling through the farmer's market, the aroma of fresh produce mingling with the chatter of vendors and buyers. Her basket brimmed with ripe tomatoes and herbs, destined for the dinner she planned to cook for Gabriel. The late afternoon sun kissed her face as she made her way to the car, one hand instinctively cradling her swollen belly. It was an ordinary day until Officer Harold Whitman intervened. Whitman, a burly man with a reputation for heavy-handedness, was patrolling nearby when he noticed Naomi. His eyes narrowed, his suspicion entirely unfounded. He barked at her to stop, his voice a thunderclap in the peaceful parking lot. Startled, Naomi turned to face him. "Is there a problem, officer?" she asked, her voice calm but wary. Whitman's response was harsh and unprovoked. "Don't get smart with me," he snapped, closing the distance between them. "You're causing a disturbance." Naomi's heart raced as she tried to reason with him. "I've just been shopping. I'm heading home." But Whitman's anger flared. Without warning, he shoved her backward. Naomi stumbled, her breath catching as pain surged through her abdomen. The crowd froze, horrified, as he kicked her in the stomach. A collective gasp rippled through the parking lot, phones raised to capture the unthinkable act. Naomi collapsed, clutching her belly as tears streamed down her face. The world spun in slow motion, the pain eclipsed only by her terror for the life inside her. By the time she was rushed to the hospital, social media erupted with outrage. Videos of the incident flooded timelines, hashtags like #JusticeForNaomi and #StopPoliceViolence trending within hours. Gabriel arrived at the hospital in a daze, his face etched with anguish. He found Naomi pale and trembling but alive. "Naomi," he choked out, taking her hand. "Are you okay? Is the baby?" She nodded weakly, tears brimming. He hurt us, Gabriel. He kicked our baby." Gabriel's jaw tightened, his grief twisting into anger. "He'll pay for this," he vowed, his voice steel. Behind his calm exterior lay the instincts of a man who had faced adversity head-on. A former Navy SEAL, Gabriel was no stranger to battles, but this was personal. That night, Gabriel worked tirelessly, gathering evidence and contacting allies from his military past. By morning, he stood outside the hospital, flanked by civil rights advocates and lawyers. His voice, steady yet fierce, echoed through the crowd. "My wife and child were attacked by someone sworn to protect them. We will not rest until justice is served." The city of Charleston erupted in protests. Crowds gathered outside police stations, demanding accountability. Meanwhile, Whitman faced suspension, but Gabriel was relentless. As the legal battle unfolded, disturbing truths about Whitman emerged. A history of excessive force complaints, many buried under layers of departmental corruption. Gabriel and his team dismantled the cover-ups piece by piece. When Naomi testified in court, her voice was unwavering. "I was just trying to get home," she said, tears glistening in her eyes. "But to him, I was a threat, simply because of the color of my skin. I won't let him take my dignity or my child's future." The courtroom fell silent, moved by her words. The jury returned a guilty verdict. Whitman was sentenced to 12 years in prison, stripped of his badge and rank. Yet the story didn't end there. Gabriel and Naomi's fight for justice inspired a movement. They used the settlement they received to launch programs addressing police accountability and community support. Gabriel's leadership brought him into the national spotlight, joining task forces on police reform. Naomi became a passionate advocate for maternal health and racial justice. Months later, Naomi gave birth to a healthy baby boy. They named him Justice, a testament to their journey. Standing before a crowd at the grand opening of the Turner Foundation for Equality and Reform, Naomi cradled Justice in her arms, her voice resolute. "We turned pain into purpose," she declared. "This isn't just for our son. It's for every family that deserves a future free of fear. As the crowd cheered, Gabriel held their son, his gaze steady. Together, the Turners had transformed heartbreak into hope, proving that even in the face of unimaginable pain, resilience and love could spark a revolution.